Hey, we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Elyse Tager, business coach for ambitious female entrepreneurs. And we are going to do some spot coaching today. I offer a spot to anybody in the group who wants to get some attention from me, some one-on-one attention from me. And I do it in front of the whole group because we all learn from each other's experiences. So hopefully this is worth your time. I had 2 people sign up for today. I'm not so sure where the other woman is, but Angela is here. Keller is here, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we can talk about whatever it is that she wanted to talk about. So Angela, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Elyse.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here today. I've not been on StreamYard before, so this is a new experience. Good. So I'm Angela Keller. My business is called At Peace with Money, and I offer bookkeeping services and financial coaching for solopreneur business owners so that they can get paid from their business and feel confident about their money. That's what I offer.
So Angela is not only a member of the group, she's my bookkeeper and I adore her. And also she's done some coaching with me. I've done some coaching with her. So we have done a lot of work with each other. So I'm delighted that you're here. You also have a new transition in your business, which I'm delighted to hear about, but that might not be what you wanted to talk about. So why don't you tell me what you did want to bring up?
Well, maybe it has to do with that. I think I was just thinking about, I'm actually in the process right now of hiring an additional bookkeeper for my business. And part of that is so that I have more time to also do financial coaching, which is my newer offering. And I think my question is, because I've owned past businesses before, and I always feel like that growing process can be difficult just partly from a mindset standpoint, because I always get afraid of, I'm going to be too busy, I can't handle this. And then also from a standpoint of just how do you manage, I'm looking at my desk because I've got stuff everywhere. Just sometimes I just feel like I can just work 10 hours a day, and how do I, give myself like a break or a way to manage all the things that I have to do while going through this growing process.
So by growing process, are you referring to onboarding a new bookkeeper or just the growth of the business overall?
Just the growth of the business overall. Yeah.
So that's such a good question. I think any entrepreneur in growth mode has to really struggle with this so that they can start parsing out what someone else can do so that they can do the work that they need to do. So I guess I would ask you, have you taken a look at what it is that you are getting off your desk to give to this new bookkeeper? Do you know specifically what that's going to be like?
I do. Yes, I do. I do know that. Like, I definitely have thought of which things, and even in my brain, it's kind of interesting. I notice my brain starts to teach as I'm doing my process. I start to think about how I'm going to teach somebody else. So it's kind of funny how my brain just takes over in that way. But yeah, so I definitely have some tasks that I know I'm going to offload. I know what they are, and I know how much time they take, because I do,
you track your time.
I do track my time. Yeah. So,
it's going to be obvious, but clearly you don't bring someone on unless they free you up. So at some point soon, you're going to know that you have an additional hour a day or 5 hours, 3 hours a week or something that you can allocate to doing something else. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do is record as you're talking to yourself about training someone, record it, so that the process of training her is already done, so that you can make Zoom videos or do something so that you're recording how you want to train her so that she performs at your level of expectation. And the wonderful thing about recording these, there's another application called Loom US, which
Mhm.
also, okay. So the wonderful thing about recording training processes or training videos is that the recipient can go back and review them without having to knock on your door again. So it might
Mhm.
take them once, two, or twice, or three times of going through that video to be able to learn what they need to know without having to interrupt you. So I would suggest that you do that. The big question about growing your business, I think, comes down to taking a really good hard look at what are you the time that you're freeing up. Is that going to start next week or next month? When do you think you'll be able to fill that time? And then what are you filling the time with that is going to get you further in your growth mode? Do you have an idea of that yet?
I do have an idea. Like I said, part of it is
Hey,
some of.
Tracy, thanks for joining us. Tracy's here.
Oh, good. So some of the bookkeeping tasks that I do that are fairly routine, those are the types of things I know I don't necessarily have to do myself. So so it's pretty easy for me to figure out what somebody else is going to do. But in terms of what I would be doing instead, like I said, I'm hoping to grow my financial coaching side, which is working one-on-one with clients in coaching conversations around money issues. And also maybe getting up from my desk and actually doing things, especially if we get out of lockdown here. I'm already thinking, okay, it'd be nice to leave this room.
Yeah, get out into the world. Yeah.
Yes.
So Angela, I'm not quite sure what your question is now. Your question about how to grow the business now that you have someone working for you? Is that your question?
Yeah, well, yes, I think just like continuing, I mean, I still have to talk myself into this, even though I've posted the job and, but it's easy to have these self-doubts about, um, am I really going to be able to follow through with this? Or what if I don't find the right person? Or, just to, like, I think sometimes it's a mindset issue. And I definitely had this in my other business also. Like, I can't handle more people or more stuff or more growth. So I'm just, thinking about ways to manage that mindset as you open yourself up to these new possibilities of growing and hiring.
So that's so interesting to hear you say that, because when you and I first met each other and started working with each other, you were adamant that you didn't want anybody else working with you in the business. You were like,
Right.
So
Right.
this is a big step. And if it's a recurring theme where you entertain the idea of bringing someone else on and then step back from it, you might want to take a look at that. What is it that makes you want to move forward with other people? And then what is it underlying that makes you pull back?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is?
What do
A
I think?
combination of things, yeah. I'm not going to let you off the hook.
Yeah, okay. I think sometimes I mean, even as you say, yes, I was determined that was not me. I was not going to hire. I was going to be this big, and that was it. It was like I already had my mind made up that I was doing everything I wanted to do. So I guess just, as it starts to be a twinkle in my eye, and then it starts to be I take the next step and the next step. I still just have these doubts. So why do I have them? Maybe it's just because it's more comfortable to just, keep everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think if I were you, I'd spend some more time thinking or journaling, however you process. What made you decide to bring someone else in? What motivated that decision?
Mm-hmm.
And was it just a gleam in your eye, or did you have a real vision of where you wanted the business to go?
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to answer that right now, but I think I would dig deeper to the emotional state that you were in when you decided that that was something you wanted to do. The other good thing I was going to add, and this is going to sound really simplistic, but I think it's really important, and I talk about this a lot in my Facebook Lives. It's at some point it's important to make a decision and just stay with the decision. You know, whether or not you feel like it's a good one, whether or not you feel like you have imposter syndrome coming up, you've made the decision and you put that behind you. And now you're walking forward with the next steps, the onboarding, the job description, and also get very clear on what that involves, right? You're going to you put a job description. I saw that you put that out there. You're going to have to interview. You're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to train. You're going to have to onboard. So those are all part of bringing someone into the business. And if you've decided that you want to do this, embrace the fact that it's going to be all of that extra work up front, So the first thing I would do, Angela, really is to dig deep and say, do I really want to do this? I mean, what prompted me to want to do this? Is it because I want to grow? Is it, you're the only one who can answer those questions. But dig deep so that you've really ferreted that out for yourself. And I think if you just still decide you want to go forward, I think there's something really not enlightening, but it lightens you up to be able to just make a decision and move forward, because the indecisiveness eats up so much time and energy, right?
Right. Yeah,
it does.
Totally.
And it starts to bring up imposter syndrome. Who am I to think I could expand this business? Who am I to think I could train someone? And the imposter syndrome eats you up. And it's simplistic, but if you just can make a decision and don't revisit it, move on from there. Knowing that there are going to be barriers, knowing that it's going to be tough, knowing that you're going to waffle at some times. But if you've made the decision, then you don't have to expend all that energy, emotional and mental energy, on revisiting this all the time. So if you are comfortable that that's where you are, you really do want to bring someone on, then put it behind you and know what the next steps are. Know how you're going to hire them, know how you're going to train them, know what you're going to have them do. And at the end of that, know what you're going to do after the fact. If it's going to go out, I'm going to go outside and get more outside activity, that's great. Or if it's going to be that you're going to focus on your financial coaching business, then you're going to have a next series of steps for yourself to move into.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think basically what you're saying is going back to like, why am I doing this? And that is a good, I use that in my business too. So because like, why do you want to get more confident on your money or whatever?
Right.
Yeah. So, and that does support and feel good. Like, yes, this is why this is the right decision. And this is why I can do this. Because basically I want to be able to serve more people. Because I love working with small business owners, and I love to see them move from, not understanding their numbers to confidence, or move from, up to more profitability, or, I love that. So I want to be able to make that happen for more people. So when I just think about that, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Okay.
So that's where you focus. You focus on your why. Thank you, Simon Sinek. That's a phrase that's become part of our vocabulary. But you focus on the why, and you don't let all of that, what am I doing, imposter syndrome, waffling, eat up your energy. That's where I would start also there. If we're talking about growing the business in general, I think that, as I said, once you get that person hired, trained, onboarded, and now that they're doing stuff for you, I would take a look at how are you going to outreach, how are you going to create visibility, how are you going to create momentum for the financial consulting that you want, financial coaching that you want to be doing. So that's your new set of to-dos, so it's going to be I don't know if you've done a lot of thinking about that up until now, but that's going to be your primary focus once you have someone else who's there working with you, so you don't have to have your head buried in your to-do list at all times.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of one step at a time,
That will be
Angela.
good. That will be time back, yeah, on my schedule. So
Yeah, yeah. And it's one step at a time. And I think it gets daunting when you've got a new.
am I fading out?
No. Yeah, right. No, it's daunting because, when you're doing something major like this, bringing someone into the company, there are all kinds of pivot points that we go through. And it's daunting if you have to think about the whole thing, thinking about the steps, one step at a time, right? So get the person hired, get them trained, figure out what the training process is going to be, onboard them, assign them tasks, and then you can then move your attention to the creating or the focus on this new end of your business, which I love, by the way. I think is fantastic, the coaching you're doing. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I especially thank you for, I mean, I use Loom already. So, but like you said, just I'm going to be going through these processes with the different clients that I have. Yeah. So I don't know why I wasn't even thinking about that. So I appreciate that.
And then having been on the receiving end of Loom training or any recorded video training, I know that it's so important to be able to go back and review, so because I remember when I was being trained in a corporate job, and it was a huge job, and one of the people who was training me did this intense 3-hour training thing, which, the majority of it went in one ear and out the other. And she got pissed off when I went back to her to say, could you go over this again? I didn't quite get this again. I thought, you can't absorb all that stuff at one time. So to have something to review is really helpful to the recipient. So,
right. Yeah.
And you're a Loom master. So, this should not be hard for you.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, I guess I was thinking, I'll wait until I, hire someone and then I'll do these video recordings, but that doesn't make sense.
Do it in the moment. I mean, you know what you're going to want her to do.
Right.
And, definitely the more training you can expose her to, the better it's going to be. So integrate that into your day-to-day so that doesn't mean it's extra work for you.
Yes. Yeah.
I see there one other person on the line. I know do you have any questions, Tracy? I don't know if you're still here, but anybody have questions for Angela? No, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe no. Anyway, Angela, anything else that you wanted to ask or talk about?
I think that was really all I had. I know you're working with entrepreneurs that are growing, and it's just it's an interesting, it's definitely a different level than when you're first starting your business. It's
totally different. Totally
thing.
Different. Right? And so, Angela, so often, and this is what I find as I'm working with this woman who's been in business for 2 or 3 years, has, a 6-figure business that they're bumping up against. They want to grow beyond that. The biggest issues are mindset, which you would think by that time, you would think that some of these issues like imposter syndrome are behind them, but that's so not the case. And so, every time you reach a new level, new devil, I think is the phrase that I've heard, and that's true. So certainly don't beat yourself up over it. But I think as we get bigger and more mature in our business, we have to be careful to marshal our own energy expenditure. Do I really want to be tied up in imposter syndrome? Do we really want to be tied up revisiting this decision? And so making it and moving forward. And I think that process has to happen in so many places. Make the decision and move on. It's important. Let me Joni, who was going to join us, just messaged me. So hold on a second. Reschedule. Okay, she's going to reschedule. That's fine. Anyway, so that frees up a lot of energy when you make a decision and you don't revisit it. Weight loss. I've got, believe it or not, I have a weight loss client right now, and I'm not a weight loss specialist or a health specialist, but she came into the whole process. She needs to lose something like 80 pounds. It's a significant amount of weight, and she made a decision that she was just going to do it. period. And, no matter what ups and downs have happened for her in the whole process, she doesn't focus on any of that crap. She's just moving full speed ahead. So that's what frees up your energy to be able to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It takes a lot of mental energy, I think, to waffle back and forth.
It does. So free yourself up and just go forth, sally forth, and move forward. Angela, anything else I can do with you while I got you?
I don't think so. I think that was.
You're okay for now?
I'm good.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. And
thank
if
you.
anybody is watching on the replay and you want to join on another spot coaching session like that, I do them once a month. Drop a comment in the comment section or contact DM Hallie or myself, and we can set you up for next month. I usually have 3 slots available. Sometimes they fill, sometimes they don't. I'm always happy to do it though. So Angela, thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Elyse. Take care.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.